Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Transport Topics webinar. My name is Kevin Ginty, VP of Sales here at Transport Topics, and I'll also be serving as your moderator for today's program. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us. We look forward to providing helpful information and insights that you can put to use in your own business operations. That's the mission of Transport Topics and what we strive for in this informative webinar series. The title of today's webinar is Using Technology to Solve Trucking's Top Industry Issues. Our presenters today are Bob Trent with PrePass and Emily Williams with Geotab. We'll begin our presentation in just a moment, but first a few housekeeping items. If you're experiencing any technical difficulties with either the audio or video portion of this program, please dial the following number for assistance: 1-800-785-5623. Again, for technical assistance, dial 1-800-785-5623. Here's a brief overview of our program. You can follow the presentation via the slide deck on screen. While this is taking place, please feel free to submit your questions for the speakers. Click on the ellipsis icon next to the chat button in the bottom right-hand corner. Select Q&A to open the panel, type in your question, and hit submit. At the end of the presentation, we'll have a Q&A session and do our best to answer all of your questions. The American Transportation Research Institute recently released the results of its annual Trucking Top Industry Issues survey with the economy, truck parking, fuel prices, and zero-emission vehicles as some of the most critical issues in trucking, among others. During this presentation, you will learn about ways your truck fleet can leverage technology and operational improvements to better address these pressing issues. You will also discover how connected vehicle technology can provide new insights into your fleet operations, allowing you to improve efficiency, driver satisfaction, productivity, and more. PrePass is a leader in vehicle-to-infrastructure technologies, including way station bypass and national toll payment services. And Geotab, being a leader in IoT and connected transportation, both work to improve fleet efficiency. You can find them online at prepass.com and geotab.com. Now here are our presenters, beginning with Bob Trent of PrePass. Sorry about that, Bob. Take it away.
You're doing so well right up until then, Kevin, and thank you for the most part for that introduction. So, today we're exploring the collaboration between PrePass and Geotab. Well, Geotab focuses on 6 functional areas: productivity, fleet optimization, safety, sustainability, compliance, and expandability. PrePass Safety Alliance focuses on enhancing highway safety and efficiency through data-driven solutions. As industry leaders in connected vehicles, our partnership began with the PrePass joining the Geotab marketplace. This integration offers way station bypass, driver safety alerts, and toll payment services on Geotab devices, providing customers with improved efficiencies and valuable data for operational enhancement. Together, PrePass and Geotab deliver greater combined benefits, proving the idea that together we achieve more.
Yes, and I'll say that while PrePass provides safety and toll data, Geotab helps carriers implement changes based on data like this. We are both data-centric companies with unique data sets, and when we bring this together, carriers can identify actionable data and action plans to improve overall safety and efficiency. And this is especially true right now during the current trucking environment.
Yeah, and as usual, it's been a challenging year for almost everyone in trucking. High inflation, rising operating costs, and declining freight demand, among other factors, have placed increasing pressure on the trucking industry.
So for those of you who are not really familiar with Geotab, let me provide a little bit of a background for you. So Geotab has been trusted to drive transformation in the transportation industry now for 23 years. We are now the largest telematics provider with over 4 million connected vehicles. In fact, we process over 55 billion data points daily. And with all of that data, we are able to provide our customers better benchmarking, predictions, and actionable insights for their business. Now, Geotab also has a unique and very secure open platform that allows you to tap into our network of over 700 global partners and 300 plus marketplace and partner integrations. So with Geotab, you can amplify your potential for innovation and digital transformation. Bob, let's talk a little bit more about PrePass.
Well, PrePass was created in part by the trucking industry. As a nonprofit organization devoted to making America's highways safer and more efficient through data-driven solutions. That mission closely aligns with that of ATRI, which conducts transportation research with an emphasis on the trucking industry's essential role in a safe, efficient, and viable transportation system. Now, ATRI research topics, including the top industry issues survey, are developed by the Research Advisory Committee. This committee is comprised of a diverse cross-section of the industry, all of whom understand the importance of sound science when dealing with the complexities of the trucking industry. In fact, Mark Dowdy, President and CEO of PrePass Safety Alliance, serves on the Research Advisory Committee right now. Now, PrePass products and services are developed similarly. Motor carriers indicate to us what products they need and will actually bring them value. This direct input from motor carriers led us to offer a comprehensive suite of services, including the PrePass app, driver safety and productivity alerts, a multifunction transponder that can handle both electronic toll payment and bypass, a toll violation management service that can reduce or eliminate toll violations altogether, and automatic toll max dispute resolution. There's also safety data and toll cost analytics software included. With one invoice, one device, and one call for support, PrePass provides motor carriers with seamless management for nationwide bypassing and tolling, ultimately saving carriers time, fuel, and money. So ATRI recently published the results of its annual top trucking industry issues survey. More than 4,000 people, including carrier personnel, drivers, and industry stakeholders, responded to the survey. Now, I should note that while we're using ATRI's list as the basis for our discussion, ATRI was not involved in developing the content of this webinar. Instead, we'll use this time to review the list and provide realistic solutions from both a technology and operational perspective. So, Emily and I will work our way up the list and answer questions at the end. But before we get to the top 10, Emily will reveal a few issues that almost made the list.
So a few issues were identified as important, but did not quite make the top 10. So starting off at number 13, we have the diesel technician shortage. Obviously, it's a huge problem. Just like drivers, we don't have enough diesel mechanics. So that leads to longer vehicle downtime, impacting operational efficiency and, of course, cost. So if you don't have the manpower, you need technology power. So preventative maintenance solutions that come to my mind are pit stop and uptake, and they've been incredibly beneficial for our customers as they can predict vehicle maintenance needs, optimizing the use of available technicians and reducing vehicle downtime. Coming in at number 12, we have insurance costs and availability. Now, obviously, this puts a financial strain on many trucking companies, and many companies are forced to self-insure. Now, driving habits and safety practices can be closely monitored by telematics, reducing risk and potentially lowering insurance premiums. In fact, Geotab works very closely with insurance companies, and many of them will even provide the fleet a discount if they are willing to share data with them. In the case there is an accident, we have great partners like Extract who provide real-time accident reporting, which improves accident management. And that data accuracy helps reduce fraudulent claims and could potentially lower insurance premiums by enhancing fleet safety profiles. Coming in at number 11 is driver training standards. Obviously, the quality of driver training directly affects road safety, legal compliance, and operational efficiency of trucking companies. So you really need high quality, standardized, and immersive driver training. Now, Geotab has a suite of safety solutions, including tools for assessing driver performance and behavior, potentially offering areas of focus for ongoing training. And then you compare that with our data with driver training, such as Luma Training. They help drivers get that immersive driver experience. So now that we've covered some of these emerging issues, let's get started with the top 10. Bob.
Well, coming in at number 10 is zero-emission vehicles. On the top 10 list for the first time, zero-emission vehicles' emergence as a top industry concern isn't a surprise given the state and federal agencies' aggressive timelines for transitioning vehicles away from internal combustion engines. Zero-emission vehicles present a range of challenges for trucking. I think we're all aware. They're expensive, and even when they are available, and those using batteries are heavier than diesel-powered trucks and often have reduced range. That means more trucks, more truck trips, or both to move the same amount of freight. At the same time, America's network of charging facilities is still in its infancy, and it uses a wide variety of connectors. So what are the technical responses to zero-emission vehicles? Well, that can be summarized in really three categories: alternative fuels, upgrading equipment and operations, and using caution when adopting zero-emission vehicles. So first, let's look at alternative fuels. Now, there are significant developments in low-emission diesel fuel, either in biodiesel or renewable formations. These alternative fuels can achieve emission reductions on par with zero-emission vehicles. There's also upgrading equipment and operations. Now, state laws requiring conversion to zero-emission vehicles sometimes allow exceptions or even delays for fleets which cannot readily convert. Now, to qualify, though, fleets must demonstrate they are already doing everything possible to reduce their emissions, from speccing fuel-efficient equipment to taking advantage of programs like PrePass and PrePass tolls, which dramatically and measurably save fuel and reduce emissions. And if you choose or are forced to by law to adopt zero-emission vehicles, your state, county, or city may offer low-cost programs to install charging facilities at your terminal. Emily, anything to add?
Absolutely, Bob. So Geotab supports over 300 EVs, and so we understand the space really well. And we offer things like an EV suitability assessment, which basically analyzes current fleet operations, and then we actually recommend which vehicles could be replaced by EVs. We also help to facilitate EV integration by providing insights on charging status, electricity metrics, and comparisons between EV and those conventional vehicles. So this data really helps fleets monitor the efficiency and cost effectiveness of their EV operations. Now, I know a lot of trucking companies aren't quite ready to make that switch to EV. We still have a long way to go, but Geotab can still help you reduce emissions and operate a cleaner fleet and reduce costs with insights into idling trends, excess fuel uses, driver behavior, and so much more. So let's move on to number 9 in the survey. So coming in at number 9 is detention and delay at customer facilities. Now, as we all know, this issue can decrease driver productivity and disrupt delivery schedules, not to mention how it can negatively impact your relationships with your customers. So having quality and real-time vehicle tracking is critical. You need to know when your drivers arrive and how long they have been there. Having this visibility to help monitor and manage schedules is so important. But it's equally important to integrate that information into your TMS platforms. So that way your dispatchers can see if any issues do arise, and if they do, they address it right away. It's also really important to use a data aggregation tool like Power BI or Tableau. That can help you view the trends of these bottlenecks, which then help to strategically address those reoccurring issues. Bob, can you share some insights perhaps from a safety perspective?
Absolutely. So detention and delay at customer facilities is not only an aggravation for truck drivers, it's a safety issue. Running behind schedule puts pressure on drivers to speed or operate in a less than safe manner to make up time. Lengthy delays can also lead to tired truck drivers. There are also technological opportunities which can help mitigate detention and delay at customer facilities. The first technology is very familiar to truck drivers. Electronic logging devices provide a clear record of any delay at a customer facility. You can use that record to work with the customer or perhaps the broker for that load on improving truck driver conditions. An ELD record is also critical in the hands of FMCSA. One of the few areas where FMCSA has jurisdiction over shippers and receivers is where truck drivers are coerced to violate hours of service rules. The ELD record becomes evidence of that possible coercion. PrePass helps truck drivers avoid detention and delay as well. Simply put, truck drivers need reliable times in transit, both to and from customer facilities, not just after detention and delay has occurred. PrePass saves carriers time every time their trucks bypass a weigh station. Driver safety and efficiency alerts on the PrePass app let the driver know of any upcoming traffic delays to avoid, as well as available truck parking ahead. And PrePass tolls means no need for the truck driver to slow down and enter toll booths where electronic payment is available. Now let's move on to number 8. Now the soft driver retention. The softer freight market is less than some of the motor carriers' concerns about driver retention, but the concern remains, as evidenced by the increased use and level of driver retention bonuses. Now, as we will discuss with number 4 on the survey, the driver shortage, shipper and truck driver surveys strongly indicate that PrePass helps carriers attract more business and help retain more drivers. In fact, for the 5th year in a row, drivers rate PrePass as a top 3 employer-provided benefit behind only pay and time at home. Motor carriers who use PrePass informed safety analysis in their driver meetings report improved driver understanding of their safety efforts and a desire to work for companies with a strong safety culture. Now, at the same time, as carriers must improve efficiency and reduce operating costs, they must eliminate accidents, downtime, and equipment repairs that drain their budgets and hinder improvements to the benefits that can help driver retention. PrePass informed safety software allows a carrier to track crashes and violations by cause and by route, location, truck, even individual truck driver. Similarly, informed tolling captures and reports toll transactions in near real time and then facilitates toll dispute resolution, so PrePass tolls carriers pay no more than absolutely necessary. Creating a safety-focused operation that respects the work performed by drivers aids in their retention. At the same time, saving money and avoiding unnecessary toll costs saves resources to improve health and retirement benefits and driver compensation. Emily?
You're absolutely correct, Bob. So, it's really clear as day. When our drivers are happy, they stick around longer. And technology is a key player in turning that happiness into reality. It simplifies their job, it cuts back on stress, and really makes their day-to-day tasks smoother. So Geotab is a perfect example of this. It eases that flow of communication between the driver and the operations team. And that really promotes a sense of understanding and even team spirit. So bottom line, happy, less stressed drivers, that's the name of the game. So coming in at number 7 is driver distraction. So research shows that up to 80% of crashes involve some form of driver distraction within 3 seconds before the event. So distractions can lead not only to severe accidents, threatening driver safety, but can also increase the risk of liabilities for the trucking companies. But here's the good news. Camera technology has come a long way. And now when it's coupled with AI, it can be a game changer. So think dash cams that record incidents and instant feedback systems that nudge drivers to really stay focused. Camera solutions with AI technologies like Netrodyne, Lytix, they're already in this space and they use AI to watch for signs of distraction and intervene before it's too late. Now, with these solutions, we're looking at safer roads, fewer accidents, and a smoother journey for everyone involved. What are your thoughts, Bob?
Well, if you ask any enforcement officer, this is their top concern. In fact, I was at a site yesterday, and that came up in the first 5 minutes that I was talking to the lieutenant in charge of the weigh station.
Yeah.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration reported that 3,522 people were killed in traffic crashes in 21 related to driver distraction. And cell phones, well, their use caused at least 410 of those deaths. So does technology help solve driver distraction or add to it? After all, cell phones, tablets, and TSP hardware are common technology found in truck cabs. The key is training truck drivers in the operation of technology and how it should be used. Now, federal regulations already prohibit handheld devices while operating a truck and require that a truck driver do no more than press one button to use in-cab technologies while driving. First, though, the driver needs to be trained to know exactly where that one button is located and what will happen when it's pushed. Eyes on the road must be maintained at all times. Also, train truck drivers to pull off the highway to a safe location before making phone calls, and that even includes getting in touch with the dispatcher. PrePass technology uses clear, recognizable colors and words to indicate whether a truck driver must pull into a way station or can bypass it, well in advance of any needed action by the driver. In fact, drivers never need to remove their eyes from the road. The PrePass tolls device allows drivers to keep on driving, eyes on the road. It does all the toll payment work for them. Now let's move on to number 11, lawsuit abuse reform. I'm sorry, number 6, lawsuit abuse reform. Verdicts in lawsuit settlements against trucking companies have grown in frequency and amount over the recent years. In turn, motor carrier insurance premiums have risen, often regardless of safety performance or crash involvement. Many of the steps necessary to eliminate lawsuit abuse and reduce nuclear verdicts against trucking must be taken in state legislatures and in courts. Now, your state trucking associations are doing great work in these areas. In fact, Texas and Florida recently have had some really huge wins in that area. But technology has a huge role to play as well. You can spec advanced driver assistance systems and train the drivers in their use. ADAS includes a range of safety technology from automatic emergency braking to lane departure and blind spot warnings. Now, in particular, forward-looking cameras in the truck cab can capture exactly what happened before an accident. But be sure to train drivers to save those videos if an accident occurs. Also, while sometimes unpopular, inward-facing cameras can show that the truck driver was alert and not distracted at the time of a crash. As the saying goes, cameras don't lie, and potential litigation often disappears when clear visual evidence is presented. And believe me, that does a lot to win drivers over to the inward-facing camera. Now, utilize advanced diagnostic software like PrePass Informed Safety to analyze and then correct safety problems. Keep a record showing that you fix issues when they're found. And above all, tell your own safety story before plaintiffs and trial attorneys do it for you. There are good truck safety consultants who can help you structure and promote your safety message.
Oh, wow, that's so well said. And, all we have to do is just take the case of Warner Enterprises. They faced a massive class action lawsuit that cost millions. No company wants to be in that boat. So here's where tech really becomes our best friend. We need top-notch data. And for that, I'd say let's get both driver and those unpopular road-facing or unpopular driver-facing cameras and the road-facing cameras, right? They help us understand and correct that risky driving habit. You toss in telematics, which adds additional insights from the ECM of how that vehicle is behaving, which then can predict and avoid accidents. Plus, with Geotab's second-by-second accident reconstruction solution, you can even gather second-by-second data for a full view of the accident. You can collect robust information like GPS, speed, engine data for really holistic visibility. And you can pull that data directly from your telematics device to help prevent tampering. Also, this will help you really create a visual map-based reconstruction with location, direction, information of how that vehicle interacted. Now, you can also get other relevant information like weather. Plus, this tech isn't just theories. We've actually gone to court with our customers and helped prove their innocence using this kind of data. By embracing this kind of technology and, as Bob said, developing a plan of action, we're not just ready to fight undue lawsuits like Warner faced, but also maintain our industry's financial health. So let's talk about issue number 5, which is driver compensation. So this is a serious matter and it's critical for sustaining our driver workforce. However, it's a challenge balancing fair compensation and obviously the increasing costs. So that's where tools like Geotab can really come in handy. Not only do we keep the driver compliant for their hours of service, but we can really help track driver efficiency and safety, making it possible to identify those drivers that really deserve those rewards. In addition, it assists in route planning and fuel efficiency, which obviously can help save costs. So when less money is spent on unnecessary detours or fines or vehicle downtime, it really does open up possibilities for better driver compensation. Now, this can go a long way in tackling the compensation issue. Anything else to add, Bob?
Yep. So the good news for truck drivers is that the driver wage levels have increased 15.5% the past year, and combined driver wages and benefits are at a record high. But driver wages come from moving freight, and the soft economy has kept actual income down. Now, technology doesn't write driver checks, but technology can improve motor carrier and truck driver efficiency and help control costs. The fuel and time savings afforded by PrePass and PrePass tolls help a motor carrier retain and appropriately compensate good truck drivers. Now, let's move on to number 4, the driver shortage. So the driver shortage has dropped as a concern in the annual ATRI survey, as the slowdown in the nation's economy has reduced pressure on the employment market. Nonetheless, driver shortage remains a concern among fleets. The good news is that university research shows that shippers prefer motor carriers who participate in the PrePass bypass program because they're safe and provide more reliable time in transit. Research on truck driver attitudes similarly shows greater satisfaction when a motor carrier aims for heightened safety with tools such as informed safety and helps eliminate distractions that keep drivers from simply doing their job. Now, Emily, step into the shoes of a truck driver and ask yourself this. If you're offered a job with a carrier that attracts more business, cares about safety, and reduces potential delays, where else would you want to work?
Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer, Bob. And to your point, driver shortage is a huge issue we just can't ignore. With ever-growing freight demands, we need more skilled drivers, period. But how do we attract them and how do we keep them? So that's where tools like Geotab can also come into play. So we help understand our drivers better, leading to tweaks that can make their job more enjoyable and less stressful. So more satisfied drivers can then mean more new recruits. Plus, Geotab ensures we follow very strict regulations on driving hours, keeping our drivers safer and ultimately more happy. And in at number 3 on the ATRI list is fuel prices. So coping with fluctuating fuel prices can obviously be a real headache. It's a major impact for the industry. For instance, when fuel prices soared unexpectedly in 2021, many transport companies were caught off guard, and that led to a significant hit on profit margins. So Geotab technology has really been a game changer for many businesses, and many of our trucking customers use Geotab to monitor their fleet's fuel usage. And for better insights, many customers integrate their fuel cards. And what that does is it aids in cost management by tracking that fuel consumption very, very closely. Those detailed reports highlight any issues like harmful driving habits or even fuel theft. Also, it simplifies admin processes and increase accountability by comparing fuel purchases and actual usage. Lastly, it supports environmental goals by identifying and reducing wasteful behaviors. So we're not just tracking fuel consumption, We also help to optimize routes, which means less time on the road and less fuel burned, which obviously is a win-win situation for us and for the environment. So despite the roller coaster that fuel prices can be, with technology solutions, we're not just passengers. We get to take control, reduce waste, and obviously safeguard our bottom line. What are your thoughts on that, Bob?
Well, the slowing fuel economy brought a drop in fuel prices through the first half of the year, but OPEC production cuts and the international unrest has seen a rapid cost increase since July. Now, ATRI analysis found year-over-year increases in fuel costs per mile of 53.7%, with fuel representing 28% of total operating costs. That's the highest since 2014. So my thoughts are ouch. But whatever the price of fuel, PrePass technology helps motor carriers save on the amount their trucks consume. According to FMCSA, PrePass saves a half a gallon of fuel every time one of your trucks bypasses a weigh station. PrePass tolls allows truck to avoid slowing, stopping, and getting back up to speed at toll payment booths, actions that help fuel consumption. Now let's talk about number 2, truck parking. One of the most significant challenges for truck drivers is finding available space to park their trucks. The average truck driver loses $5,500 every year in time spent searching for parking. And an estimated 70% of truck drivers have been forced to violate hours of service rules when seeking legal parking. The lack of available truck parking has been an issue as far back as 1992 and a top 5 concern in the ATRI survey since 2015. Now, recent congressional action has provided funding eligible for use to expand truck parking, but so far, there's no federal funding dedicated to truck parking. Now, PrePass technology helps truck drivers overcome the truck parking issue. Drivers equipped with the PrePass app receive available truck parking alerts to help them find a safe place to spend the night. Emily?
I love that PrePass offers that. You know, Bob, a recent survey found truckers spend on average 56 minutes daily just looking for a spot to park. Now, that's not just an environmental concern, but it's obviously a huge hit to productivity. And of course, no one can forget that tragic accident in July involving a Greyhound passenger bus and 3 heavy trucks parked outside of the rest area due to the lack of available parking. In that situation, 3 people died and 14 people were injured. We need to keep not just our drivers safe, but also the public. So here's the thing. Truckers, who are truly the backbone of America, they've made it really clear parking is a major safety concern. It adds to the stress and the frustration and the fatigue of an already demanding job. So here's where technology can help. Utilizing workflow solutions with routing and navigation, that's critical. Elios is a key partner that comes to mind, and they integrate both PrePass and Geotab's rich data into their workflow solution, enabling effective trip planning that includes parking location identification and reservation. So now drivers can easily plan their routes with available parking spots in mind, vastly cutting down their parking search times. So by integrating all of these technologies into operations, we're addressing the parking issue, easing the stress for our truckers, and making our roads a safer place for everyone. Okay, so what you've all been waiting for, in at number 1, with no surprise, is the economy. So economic instability impacts freight demand and the ability of trucking companies to generate revenue, affecting market stability and growth in the industry. So when the economy hits a rough patch, trucking takes a hit too. People tighten their wallets, factories slow down, and suddenly there's less product to haul. And that means less money for trucking companies. And add insult to injury, costs shoot up, fuel prices go crazy, and then there's more red tape to deal with. And I feel like smaller trucking companies really feel the squeeze even more. I feel like it's like driving on a pothole-ridden road for everyone. So to really weather that storm, companies, you have to be smart, flexible, plan things out carefully. It's a very bumpy ride, but navigating it wisely is key. And Geotab can be a game changer for trucking during economic up and downs. We can help plan efficient routes, predict and prevent breakdowns, and keep an eye on that fuel use, which we've discussed. So, plus we provide data to make smart decision and ensuring compliance with rules and offer real-time visibility into your entire fleet. Basically, it's like a GPS for success in a really unpredictable world of trucking. Bob, I would love to hear your perspective on this.
Well, since I listened to Bob Costello, I have a perspective, but it's not surprising. Inflation, rising interest rates, and diesel prices, combined with the reduced freight demand and declining freight rates, those all put the nation's economy at the top of ATRI's list of industry concerns. Now, PrePass Technologies helps fleets in the down economy in a number of ways. PrePass saves qualified carriers time, money, and fuel with every way station bypass. FMCSA estimates each bypass saves fleets at least 5 minutes of driver time, nearly half a gallon of fuel, and $8.68 in operational costs. Even if freight rates remain soft, those cost savings are in real dollars in carrier pockets. And those time savings mean more reliable service to shippers, which benefits the whole supply chain. Like it or not, an increasing portion of supply chains moves on toll roads. PrePass tolls technology save carriers the time of stopping at toll booths, reduces fuel consumption and emissions from all that braking and accelerating, and provides the best available toll rates and discounts. Now, trucking moves the supply chain. Every dollar a carrier saves helps the nation's economy. And here you see ATRI's top industry issues all together, leading with the economy all the way down to zero-emission vehicles. You know, obviously each one will hit you a little bit different depending on your situation. But I hope Emily and I have provided you all with actionable information to alleviate this tall list of issues with technology. Every PrePass product and service has been developed at the direction of motor carriers just like the ones on this call. The value that PrePass technology provides in time, money, and fuel savings and data analysis to improve safety and efficiency are real and will help you navigate these challenges and gain an edge on your competition. Emily, anything to add?
Yeah, so obviously these top 10 issues, they run the gamut, right? As you said, Bob, from the economy to emissions. And you know, with Geotab, we're really helping our customers have this savvy co-pilot, and it helps them save on fuel costs, speed up parking, hold on to their drivers, really pay them fairly, and stay on the right side of the law. Plus, as you mentioned, it cuts down delays and it even guides us on the road towards zero emissions. So short and sweet, Geotab and our partners like PrePass, they've got our backs on every challenge we face in the trucking industry. So I think we are ready for some questions. I'm sure there's many coming in right now.
Great. Thank you to our speakers, Bob Trent with PrePass and Emily Williams with Geotab. Again, as Emily mentioned, it is Q&A time. So if you would like to submit your questions, please go to the ellipsis icon in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. We should be able to pull up the Q&A panel and push it out to us. Speaking of that, let me pull up the Q&A myself and get to some of these questions. Bob, for driver retention, driver shortage, why would a motor carrier not provide a productivity tool like PrePass Bypass for their drivers?
Well, you know, honestly, I don't know. It's free to all PrePass customers. You know, again, we try to provide more value within our subscriber base and to our subscribers for the same low monthly rate. But we know that most carriers are strapped for time, and they don't always have the time to learn about data analytics. And that's the good news about our Inform products. They're designed for really anybody in an organization. They don't have to be data scientists to understand what Inform is telling you. Inform does that work for them. Easy to access, easy to understand dashboards provide the information that is actionable to your organization and important to your organization right up front. And so I think that might have that might be maybe a hurdle as well. It's just the idea that, do I have to be knowledgeable in data, analytics? Do I have to be a data scientist to use this software? And the answer is no. It comes with your PrePass service. Just feel free to engage, and if you need help, give us a call.
Okay. Emily, when talking about EV vehicles, some of the CARB regulations come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
How is Geotab handling this?
Oh my. So there's a lot of complexity, obviously, when it comes to CARB. So to kind of educate the audience here, for a product to be considered CARB compliant, it must go through extensive testing. If that product then passes without harming emissions control or measurement, it's then assigned a CARB executive order. So I'm not sure if anybody has seen the recent press release that we just did, but Geotab is the only aftermarket telematics solution at this time to actually have passed that rigorous CARB testing, and we have been issued an executive order. So we're the first and only aftermarket telematics solution vendor at this time to receive that executive order. So I know there's lots of questions on CARB, and if anyone does have any questions or would like some additional information on how you can prepare your fleet for what's coming, feel free to send us an email. You can send it to me personally at emilywilliams@geotab.com, just my first and last name at geotab.com, or you can send it to heavytrucksales@geotab.com, and we'll make sure to get that question answered for you.
Terrific. I think this goes back to you, Bob. What is the coverage for the current PrePass truck parking alert, and are there different types of alerts available?
Well, yeah, there are. So I'll start with the different types. There is a static parking alert, which basically means that when a parking alert pops up on the PrePass app, it says there is available trucking ahead, and it's not dynamic, meaning it's simply indicating that there is truck parking available, although perhaps there might not actually be a trucking spot, but there may be. And that accounts for rest areas and any place else that's legal for a truck to park. Now, there's also dynamic parking, and that means that there's actual information going back and forth between the app and the parking facility that actually gives a count, a number of available truck actually spots at that moment. PrePass adds to our truck parking alerts with a no commercial vehicle road alert, so that if a trucker is looking at the end of the day for a parking spot, they're warned ahead of time that don't look down this road or don't take this off ramp. There are no commercial vehicles allowed on it. And also the good news is that our truck parking alerts are available in the 48 states, the 48 contiguous states in America. In fact, 2 of the states that aren't even PrePass states receive those alerts, so you get them nationwide, coast to coast.
Great. Terrific. How do companies ensure the safety and privacy of driver data collected by technology like Geotab?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So we are very, very strict with our safety and privacy of data and how we collect it. So I would say there's 3 main things. The first one would be data protection, right? So we actually give clients full control of their data access, maintaining that data encryption. And obviously, for all of our benchmarking, we actually anonymize all of that data to safeguard our users. The second thing would be our security measures. So we do regular security assessments to identify and fix any vulnerabilities that we would have. And then third, I would say is certifications. So we have to be very stringent on this because we have many government customers. And so we also have a lot of global customers too. So we have to comply with data privacy regulations globally. And then we also hold several ISO and FedRAMP certifications. So very, very strict data security practices here at Geotab.
Okay. Looks like we have time for 2 more questions, so I'll fire one more to each of you. Bob, it says, I'm interested in receiving PrePass alerts, and I'm a current customer. What do I need to do to get the alerts in order to be more productive?
Well, if you're a PrePass customer, then the app is included, the PrePass app is included in your subscriber fee every single month. And that's what you need, is the PrePass app in your vehicle. And you can download it on any iOS or Android device. And we're also available on, really some of the best platforms like Geotab. And just give us a call, or work with your reseller on the Geotab marketplace, and we can get you all set up.
Terrific. And we'll end with you, Emily. How does Geotab differentiate when it comes to data quality?
So another great question. Thank you. So we really collect data in a very different way than any telematics provider. So all the other telematics provider will collect data by time. So, whether it be every minute, every 15 minutes, every 5 seconds, what have you. We actually collect it by event. And it's really important to, understand it's not just about the frequency of the data, but also the quality of the data. So are you capturing all of the critical data, or are you missing events? So with a time-based solution, obviously, if you're only getting data every 5 seconds, a lot can happen in 5 seconds, right? So we have a proprietary algorithm that's patented only to Geotab. And what it does is it uses that event-based tracking, but it compresses all of that data and then pulls out the most important data points that contain information. And the benefit that our customers see is they get more data signals with the same accuracy. And then they don't have to pay for additional storage and additional data. So it's really a win-win for us and for our customers.
Terrific. Thank you, Bob and Emily, for the great information, the rundown on the top 10 and your views on all the matters, and some of them that weren't even on the top 10 list. So with that, we have reached the end of our time. For those who submitted questions to the folks at PrePass and Geotab, and we were not able to answer, they'll be in touch with you with that. And those who were holding your tongue and didn't have a chance to submit a question and would like to, you can please use the contact information on the screen, and I'm sure Bob and Emily will get back to you very soon. As I said, we've reached the end of it, of the webinar. If you know someone who wanted to attend today's program but was unable to do so, or if you'd like to go back and review any or all of today's program, we'll have it available on our webinar archive page at ttnews.com. Thank you again for attending, and have a great day. And thanks again, you two.
Thanks, Kevin.